Open YouTube today, and you are immediately buried in tutorials promising that AI will make you a millionaire by next Tuesday. The sheer volume of new tools, models, and tactics dropping every week is completely paralyzing. Entrepreneurs are burning their runway, trying to master every new text-to-video generator or autonomous agent that goes viral. But chasing individual tools traps you in an endless cycle of tutorials, costing you the actual window of opportunity to build a sustainable business. The money isn't in building massive language models. The opportunity lies in the last-mile application layer, wiring existing AI to solve specific problems. You no longer need developers. Anyone can spin up a solution. The technical barrier has dropped to zero. When everyone has the exact same access to world-class intelligence, the tech itself stops being a competitive advantage. Surviving this market depends entirely on choosing the right operational structure for your business. This chart maps the trade-off every founder negotiates. X-axis, service intensity. Y-axis, scalability. Software products sit high on scalability, but lack of human interaction causes a brutal failure rate. Done-for-you services guarantee faster income, but your growth is capped by a hard revenue ceiling. Navigating this matrix leaves us with three viable, distinct paths for 2026: the workflow integrator, the creative arbitrager, and the niche tinkerer. Picking a path that conflicts with your personal risk tolerance and avail capital will drain your energy long before you ever see a profit. You have to match the model to your constraints. The workflow integrator relies on a strong professional network and B2B sales experience. You aren't selling the AI itself. You are selling the payroll efficiency it brings to an established legacy company. This is often packaged as a fractional chief AI officer. A fractional CAIO is an external advisor who works part-time from multiple companies to audit legacy systems, train staff, and implement internal data governance policies. You don't need to know how to write code to execute this. The deliverables involve stringing together advanced no-code automation platforms to route internal emails, generate financial reports, or build team operations dashboards. Because these integrations directly save a corporation hundreds of hours in manual labor, businesses are willing to pay extensive, high-ticket monthly retainers to maintain them. The catch is the sales process. Convincing a traditional business owner to trust an outsider with their internal data requires intense social friction, countless discovery calls, and months of negotiation. You get the highest immediate cash flow of any model, but the size of your agency is ultimately restricted by your personal bandwidth for managing corporate relationships. If you have less capital but high visual and creative taste, you can operate as a creative arbitrager. This involves using the latest generation tools to produce creative assets for a fraction of what traditional agencies charge. This looks like spinning up a fleet of AI-generated avatars to produce bulk user-generated content for TikTok ads, or using language models to blanket a specific industry with localized SEO articles. Client acquisition here is incredibly fast. You can walk into a local business, hand them a fully produced commercial you generated in 20 minutes, and charge a price they simply can't refuse. But there is a fatal flaw in the math. As this chart shows, the moment a new generation tool becomes widely accessible, the market value of the content it produces crashes toward zero. Soon, your clients will realize they can just prompt the video generator themselves. To survive, you are forced into an endless hustle. You have to constantly hunt down new, less educated clients, or you have to stay awake learning the bleeding edge of prompt engineering just to stay one step ahead. Your only protective moat is your speed. You are exploiting a temporary gap in the market, which means you have to extract as much cash as possible before the window closes. The third profile is the niche tinkerer. This is for the systems thinker who wants to completely eliminate client meetings and sales calls from their calendar. They build MicroSaaS. MicroSaaS is a software-as-a-service application that solves one hyper-specific, narrow problem for a highly targeted user base. You use an AI coding assistant to write the app, host it on a simple web framework, and charge a small monthly subscription. If the product works, the upside is massive. A single server can handle 10 users or 10,000, meaning your cost per new user is effectively zero. You decouple your income from your time. However, the trade-off is a brutal upfront failure rate. Because you are building in isolation without a client actively directing you, there is a very high chance you spend weeks coding a solution to a problem nobody actually cares about paying to fix. Your code won't save you. Success relies completely on your ability to run highly targeted digital marketing campaigns to find your exact audience before your personal runway dries up. It offers the ultimate leverage, but only if you can survive the agonizing process of finding true product market fit. Map your existing unfair advantages to the correct operational structure. The networker leverages trust for low volume, high ticket AI consulting. The creative monetizes speed by turning out high volume assets. The systems thinker uses logic flows to build micro SaaS for zero touch scale. The hardest part is the commitment. Choosing one of these paths means you have to ruthlessly ignore the success stories, the hype, and the tutorials meant for the other two. The intelligence of the model isn't what makes you rich, it is simply a lever. The outcome depends entirely on finding the business model that naturally amplifies the way you already work.